Hi, it's Joy. Today we're watching Superman and Lois, Season 4, Episode 8, Sharp Dressed Man. This is the third to last episode, and I am stressed. And everything has changed since the last episode, and I have literally got no idea where we're going next. Reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, and let's go. He means business.
Alright, gotta get going. We'll be starting soon.
Hold on. We need to go over these schematics before you leave.
She's a kid, let her be a kid.
Tomorrow.
Are you sure you want to keep doing this?
Of course.
She should get to be a child first.
Oh, thank you so much.
Who is this guy?
It's kind of crazy. What are they here for?
Is it them? Has someone word got out that Superman's sons bought tickets?
For us.
We'll just drive home, boys. Things are never going to be the same.
I felt that after months of trying to reconcile, it was finally time for me to go on record.
Oh, I hate men so much. Men like Lex Luthor. After months of trying to reconcile. Oh! I'm not enjoying Lex Luthor. Again, acting is brilliant because I'm not enjoying the man.
Lois knew people would connect the dots to Moxie's murder, so she got out in front of the story. It doesn't hide the fact that she lied.
I think the reason I'm really not enjoying Lex Luthor is because he reminds me of a lot of very, very real people in the world today who have a lot of power and influence. And this should be an escape from that. And instead, it's being whacked over the head with a reminder of how fucked our world is.
If she really believes that, then I challenge her to come here and debate me, face to face.
Just ignore him.
Face would be a...
But like, Lois, don't do it. Obviously she's going to do it because they wouldn't mention it if she wasn't.
Right here.
Like, when Clark came out as Superman, he should have said something about how part of why he has made this decision today is because Lex Luthor has been threatening his family and he has figured out he knows Clark's identity and or something like, I mean, not that, but mention that since his release from prison, Lex Luthor has been threatening my family, and I know that he has been trying to reveal the secret himself. And I have kept the secret to try and protect my family all this time, but it's not doing that anymore. So therefore, that is one of the factors that has led to me finally taking this step. And fuck, it's a relief. Oh, Clark wouldn't say fuck. And whoa, it's a relief that I now that I'm saying these words, I do feel like a weight is lifted. So maybe Lex Luthor did me a favor in that regard. But he has been targeting my wife, targeting my children. Like, this is a very dangerous man or something. And then public opinion. I mean, obviously it's hard to know like what is known about this version of Lex Luthor compared to other versions of Lex Luthor, but people in general must have a vague idea that he's done a lot of other shady things that he hasn't been found out for. So like, if I was watching this, and he's clearly, I mean, I'm assuming on some kind of like sleazy right-wing show. So like, as a human in the world, I would be like, Lex Luthor's a piece of work. Like, what does he want? She got him out of prison, you know? It wouldn't convince me. But Lois should not do this debate because Lex is he's got something up his sleeve, you know? He's got some proof that Lois is evil, or I feel like there needs to be some purpose to the fight he had with Clark. So like, he filmed that and he's going to show, oh, look at Big Bad Superman beating me up, even though Big Bad Superman was actually powerless at the time because you made him that way. But that's not the point. Like, he's going to do something to try and hurt Lois, and that is the only reason he is doing this debate. And I know Lois, I know she's going to be like, I don't back down from a fight. If I don't do this, people are going to think I have something to hide. Just put out a statement that Lex Luthor has been harassing me and my family and my friends, and I do not think that there is a need for me to put my personal safety on the line by confronting this man in public.
You just called me a liar in front of a national audience.
Because he's desperate.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to
Don't
cover up
respond.
that after Otis's testimony, he won't have any moves left.
And you know what Lex is like. He's not going to do this if he doesn't have some kind of ammunition to surprise you with.
I don't care about that.
Candace isn't coming.
Venus just broke up with me.
she can't deal with the pressure of dating someone that famous and public, because I do understand that. I just hope, I mean, I hope for John's sake that it's a misunderstanding of some kind, but I guess maybe that, I hope that's the reason, and it's not to do with her father at all, because that's what my brain always goes to with her. Because yeah, like going from just dating someone who's just, you know, you're both teenagers, you're both ordinary kids, then you find out that there is a reason he's done all these things and he's not always the most reliable, but then you date someone who's one of the most famous people on the planet. That is extremely different, and they are very young to deal with that. And it breaks my heart that the boys are having to deal with that, so I wouldn't blame Candace if she doesn't want to get wrapped up in all of that, however much she cares about John.
We still need Lois if this is going to work.
What is their plan?
She'll be here.
They have something to spring on her, to discredit her. And,
Be sure to get touched up before.
you know, one of the many reasons why Lois should not do this thing is because we've seen in the real world how people like Lex take things and they twist them. They edit a video and only show part of it. Or they find one time she said a sentence and that sentence sounds bad out of context. And they just show that. You know, they can manipulate the truth and they don't give a shit. They will lie, they will manipulate the truth. They will take, you know, that time Lois was seen shouting at someone in the car park because she thought they were going to hit a car, and then she went, oh sorry, I'm having a really bad day, I'm so sorry I shouted at you. They'll just show her shouting, you know, like, I mean, you can take like a small thing and twist it to make it look a certain way with your, and then the minute Lois is like, no, that's not what happened, that's not the whole story, that's not true, oh, you're deflecting, oh, you can't take it, you know, like she's not, this is not a thing she should do, because the interviewer person is all buddy with Lex. Like it's not a place where she will get treated fairly and equal debate. It isn't going to be anything good, and obviously there's half an hour left in the episode, she's going to end up doing this fucking debate, but she really shouldn't. Is it bad that I kind of hope we deal with Lex Luthor like soon, and then we can have at least an episode of just them existing in this new normal?
Found them hanging in a cell half an hour ago.
Of course they did.
It was a suicide.
What?
He's dead.
Luther.
I mean, Lex probably sent this person, let's be honest, because he's trying to force her into feeling like she has to do the debate, and she doesn't have to do the debate.
Doing the interview.
I really think a rebuttal is still the way to go.
Me too.
I've made up my mind.
I know you have, but think about the fact that Lex...
Penthouse.
Yes.
An interviewer of his choosing.
Uh-huh.
It's the definition of home field advantage.
So what?
And you know Lex isn't going to play fair. If Lex played fair, if Lex stuck to the truth and the fact and the reality of what is actually going on here, you would demolish him in 2 seconds, because you have the truth on your side and you are right, and you have only ever done what you think is right, and Lex doesn't understand what that concept is. But this is Lex fucking Luthor, who is not playing by the same rule books as anybody else, and it's really stupid to do the debate.
Even with my foggiest radiation brain, I could destroy Luther in a debate.
Sure.
No, because he has set this up.
Luther's gone quiet.
I'm gonna go get ready.
This is a bad idea.
Dummy totally bought it.
How long until you can get everything online?
Oh god.
Soon is by the time we go to
I
air.
knew there was something off with this man.
You get to work and
I'm sorry, baby.
I just tried that.
No, not on the phone, dummy. Go see her.
I know.
Yeah, right now.
I mean,
She's the one that you love.
go and try. If she asks you to leave, leave, but
You have to
try.
before it's too late.
Are we gonna go get your girlfriend back?
Because Candace is just afraid, like you all are, like you were when that mob was screaming your names outside the movie theatre. I'm not American, outside the cinema. He doesn't like being on camera, does he? So is this like too much? Because he can back out, that works for me.
Shut it down.
Lex,
I said shut it
I mean, I like that we see that he's not
I'm not going to walk away from this just because
completely
it's a plan. We
solid and cold, that he has his own mental health issues. She's in charge, alright. What is stupid Carman doing? I need Lex to show his true colours in this interview. Like, it's one of my not pet peeves, one of the plot lines that I really don't enjoy when they happen. And I'm sorry if I've discussed this previously in Superman and Lois. I have definitely discussed it in other reactions. Is the plotline the concept where good characters are made to look bad, and the world turns on them, the people around them turn on them, like anyone turns on them for being like, I mean, I don't mean like I hate that so much. I don't necessarily always hate it as a plotline. It can work. It does have its place in media. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it just is so horrible to watch. It makes me feel so awful, and I don't enjoy it the entire time. And I really just I have this feeling that because that's what Lex has been trying to do all episode, and I just have this really horrible feeling that this episode is going to end with that kind of a sentiment of the fact like the world turning on Lois and Clark, and like they don't even have the protection of no one knowing who they really. I mean, okay, if the world were turning on Lois, they'd always know who she was, but like the whole secret is out there, the whole truth is out there, and they're more vulnerable than ever in that regard. And I really, I feel like it's gonna leave me feeling really uncomfy, and I'm gonna have to wait a week for the next episode. And okay, I vented my stress.
Come here, I want you to see for yourself.
Like, is he getting progressively worse, or?
No, some of it.
But my heart's fine.
Maybe for a 6-year-old like Sam, but not for you.
Oh my god.
And that's gonna affect your entire body.
Wait. What are you saying?
You have a chronic condition that's going to get
You
worse.
have all of your abilities.
You're gonna go away?
They're starting to fade.
Oh, Clark. All I can think of is we can get the heart from the Bizarro Superman monster thing.
I'm just a believer in journalism that shows both sides of an issue.
This is not journalism.
And there are
no substance.
there are so many issues where that both sides concept is destroying the world. Like racism, both sides. There is not a both sides, you know. Like, should trans people exist? There is no such thing as both sides. Like, there are so many issues where the both sidism, that so many media things are like, we have to show both sides of it. Oh, should we save the environment, or do the businesses need, the oil companies need their profits? There are so many things in this world where both sidism is a load of bullshit. Like, you could maybe say critics of this say this, but actually your job is to, journalists should report the truth, not just a load of bullshit lies that one group of people say because it's their opinion. Like, ugh! Sorry, this episode is triggering me right now. Triggering how the world is.
Do that. I'm Switzerland. All right?
No, you're not, you piece of shit.
What do you think?
Just, this is such a bad idea because Lex isn't going to do this as a good faith debate. If that was all this was, if Lex just wanted to good faith go out there, debate Lois, using the truth, she'd win. But like, he's obviously got so many things up his sleeve that he has planned and prepared, and we are not going to be able to combat those in real time when the interviewer is on Lex's side as well.
You right here?
Oh, I'm really uncomfy watching this.
Don't worry.
Like, I don't want to watch
I
this
never met
episode.
Mannheim until after I started my campaign.
Ideally, I would like to,
Lex Luthor implies-
skip through it and read a summary.
I mean, I think the circumstances speak for themselves.
See, good faith, she can do this. Lex has something up his sleeve. I don't want to watch this.
Get out of here! This is over. We are going to end you.
You and your wife need to
I
stop
knew
setting me up.
Stop lying!
everything about this when Clark was doing it was stupid and wrong, and I know why he did it, but this is exactly why I hated that he was doing it. Succumbing to Luther's level is never going to do anything for you. Ever.
She wanted to pay me to talk about dating you.
Really?
Yeah. And it was a lot of money, more than I make in a month waitressing.
And then do it. I don't care.
It's
John.
just that. I mean, I can't do this anymore. It's too much.
I don't blame her, like, they're so young.
First, look me in the eye and tell me you don't love me.
John, stop.
No, seriously.
John,
Tell me you don't love
sweetheart.
me and I'll leave.
I mean, I want this to work out for him so badly because he loves her so much and they have been through a lot and she's grown a lot, and like, I want those to work out for them, but I also don't think it's not about whether or not she loves him. It's about suddenly dating one of the most famous people in the world, and not everyone is going to be able to deal with that. I don't know that I would be able to deal with that. Like, you want to believe love is always enough, but they're 16 years old. Oh,
I know.
baby.
Okay, you never.
It just feels like for people like us, once you're in it, you're in. She's not going back.
But you're a 16-year-old girl. You don't have to be in it. Like, if there's a huge emergency, yeah, maybe you can drop it. But, like, the car crash this morning, John Henry could have very easily... I mean, obviously, that was some kind of horrific trap, and I'm terrified about it. But that was something John Henry could have very easily put out the fire and saved the man. He didn't need her there. It made it easier, it made it quicker, but it would have been like 30 seconds longer for him to just do it by himself. There are day-to-day things where she's not needed, that John Henry can do it by himself. And then if there's, oh my god, there's like a huge category like 7 disaster, then she gets called in the same way that the boys shouldn't always be the first port of call either, because they're children. Okay, he managed to fix it, because they do love each other. I mean, I think, in a way, Candace should give it more time, see if things die down. Things are fucked up right now, but see how they go.
His daughter.
Oh my god, have they actually got Elizabeth?
Hurry.
He knows your security system.
What's going on with my computer?
Just hold on while I finish making the final preparations.
Lord.
Preparations for what?
So it's an ambush in multiple ways? Oh, that's so scary. And they put him in the suit? Is the Nat suit going after Nat? I'm proud of you, Jordan.
Bring Elizabeth into this.
You're the one who drove her away so that you could keep her.
And you have already brought her children into this.
This is not what I agreed to.
Oh, Lois didn't agree to any of this. How's he already in his outfit?
Oh my god.
Oh god.
Shutdown protocol A172.
Candace, get inside, sweetie. So is this suit being told to attack the boys, or just is it trying to kidnap Nat? Oh god. Yep, so it's been told to kill the boys? Oh my god. The Lex called Lois here and then intentionally wanted to go and try and murder her family. Which I will say would destroy Lois, because like if the boys had been murdered and Clark also were to be killed or whatever, like very bad. I'm not saying that like, he wouldn't have won, but the public opinion battle would definitely be over. Though I suppose he'd be like, no, that was their friends that killed them. Oh god. Holy fucking shit. And Clark's hearing isn't good. Is Clark aware that John is falling? Okay, good. Clark is aware that John is falling. But is the suit going to interrupt him?
If Lois Lane has the guts to return to your favorite program with your favorite host.
Yeah, and she'll bring fucking Elizabeth. Sorry if it's stressful to her with the baby, but you know, like, I brought his daughter. She's here right now. She offered him everything, but he wanted to keep trying to stalk and harass my family.
You're right. I should have run a rebuttal.
Mm-hmm. You shouldn't have gone attacking Lex, and you shouldn't have gone to the debate. Am I supposed to care? It's just creepy. She's only in it for the money and power you give her.
I got it.
Oh, the suit she was getting in was that suit. As well as a literal suit.
I was doing it just for him, but now it's for me.
Good girl.
But your father has something to tell you.
This poor family can't catch a break and it hurts.
As long as your grandfather would have had? Maybe less? But the bigger problem with what we're facing right now is that my powers are starting to...
Actually, the biggest problem is that you're going to die.
How?
All these
Every day
babies.
I'm getting a little weaker.
I just want to give them all such a hug. They deserve so much better than all of this. Like, can we defeat Lex Luthor in the next episode and then just have the finale just be them living their lives? Please.
How's it looking, Milton?
I've seen more Lex Luthor than I need to. Okay, so this was a really uncomfortable episode, 90% of it. Like, it just felt too real to the real world, too real to the kind of people that have influence and power in our real world and are destroying everything that is good about it. And yeah, this not fun. And then the whole like, let's turn the public against Clark and Lois, even though like all they've ever done is help people and be good people. I hate plotlines like that. Not, again, they're not bad plotlines necessarily. They're just not for me. They make me feel uncomfortable. And, you know, it's annoying because I was like, there's no reason to do this debate at all. Like, Lois should have, if she really wanted to debate him, and that was the thing, she should have said, oh, yes, Luthor, I'm not afraid of you. I will debate you, but I'm not going to do it in your house and under your terms with the journalist you've hand selected. Let's find someone who is impartial to both of us, and we'll do it somewhere else, and like 50-50. Like, somewhere that is actually an even playing field. And then he still would have brought along his little videos. He still would have done everything that he did, but it wouldn't have been what it was. Also, Clark couldn't have gone through the balcony door like he did when they arrived. I know, it was pressing, it was time crunch. And then, like, Elizabeth should have been waiting on that fucking phone. Boom, hello? Yes, my dad's a monster, you know? What are you good for? I'm being really mean. But, like, realistically, I know Godfrey's only doing the, like, she can come back on my show anytime because he knows she won't go back on the show after this, but she should, with Elizabeth. Go on a different person's show with Elizabeth. I mean, again, Elizabeth does not deserve that, but, like, I'm sorry, do it. See how Lex likes it when his dirty laundry is paraded through the town. So it's also kind of frustrating because I hated the episode where Clark was beating up Lex, and I know I saw people afterwards who were like, oh my god, that was so badass, it was so cool, and I'm like, no. It's stooping to his level. He's obviously weaponizing it somehow. Like, all the things he was saying, like, oh, don't hurt me, or now they'll see who you really are. Like, it was just doing exactly what he wanted you to do, reacting in the way he wanted you to do. And doing the debate, Lois did the exact same thing. And both of them had a bad outcome, and it's really annoying. Also, the characters are human. You know, they're people. They're not always going to make perfect decisions. So, like, it's fine, but it was frustrating to watch because you like watching the characters cause a train crash, telling them, don't do that, it'll cause a train crash, then they do it and it causes a train crash, you know? So a lot of this episode was really hard to watch, to the point where I'm really not looking forward to editing this episode because I will need to rewatch it. Like, when I rewatch this show, this will be skipped through, this episode, significantly. And, like, maybe given the extremely dire state of our world right now, I'm feeling more vulnerable to, like, things like this, but, oh, it was not nice. I wish there had been less focus on Luthor and more focus on what the world knowing about them being the super family was. Now, obviously, Lex is the big bad, but, like, 80% of his scenes we didn't need. We could just have him doing the interview being like, I want Lois to debate me. And then him being like, you got a plan? Okay, to his little woman. And then the debate. That's as much Lex as I needed. Maybe him at the end being like, there's a killer suit, so that they could, if people weren't like hadn't figured out that the suit was going to him, they would know it. Like that is as much Lex as this episode needed. I would have much rather spent more time focusing on how the boys felt when they couldn't even go to the cinema because there was a mob of people screaming, I love you, and all that kind of stuff. How Lois would have felt like walking to go and get this incredibly personal piece of information at hospital about like your cancer if it's come back, and like, yes, obviously your doctor's not going to be like, oh my god, that's Superman, but people in the waiting room being like, oh my god, look, oh my god, someone's tweeting, oh my god, Lois Lane and Superman are in the hospital, you know, like how it feels to kind of have that anonymity that yes, she was a public person, but it's a whole other level now. Like, things like that would have been far more interesting to delve into more, in my opinion, than Lex Luthor swanning around being annoying. Like, we obviously did touch on these things, but I feel like I would have liked more of a development. We touched on it a little bit further with Candace, and I am glad she and John stayed together, but I feel like I didn't blame her for wanting to break up as well, because she's only 16 and that is too much for anyone to deal with. It's too much for the boys to have to deal with, let alone Candace, when she's just on the periphery of it all. And I will forever love John for being like, take the money, tell them everything. But I am glad for his sake that they patched it up. And I think in the long run, it's so fresh, it's so new. Hopefully things will die down. Things will reach a different, will calm down for everybody involved. I mean, not necessarily immediately, but sort of running away at this huge, this huge junction now is sort of like running away at the first sign of trouble, although it is a very significant piece of trouble for a 16-year-old in particular. So I'm glad they patched things up, and I love the way Jordan and Nat were like, we're going to do this for you, like, you're going to be okay. I just love how supportive Jordan is of his brother, because they've done such, in my opinion, such a brilliant job with the relationship between the twins. Like, my favourite part of this show is the Kent family, and so that's why I'm like, less time on Luther, more time on the Kents, please, the Kent Lanes. Like, because the boys argue all the time, and they say things they don't mean, and they're spiteful, and they're brothers, and then they love each other and they look out for each other and they root for each other so hard, and it makes me happy to watch. It's such a brilliantly done relationship, and I've loved watching Jordan be the champion of Jonathan's relationship, because he doesn't want his brother to go through what he himself has been through. It was brilliant. And yeah, now I will say, like I was saying, if Lex Luthor had succeeded and Jordan and Jonathan had been killed by the suit, which is, I presume, the suit wasn't sent to kidnap Nat and get her to go and attack Superman. The suit was just sent to kill the boys, because it was very fixated on Jonathan. Like, it had knocked Jordan out, and then it was like, threat 2. And like, even when Nat was stood right there and it could have quite easily gone and like absorbed her, it was still focusing on attacking the boys over anything else. So had Lois's children been murdered, it might add some credibility to her saying Lex Luthor was targeting my family. Like, yes, he'd have been like, well, it wasn't me, it was a suit. But I mean, also then when he starts showing up in a super suit, I suppose he's going to be saying, I'm defending the world from evil Superman. But really, other than a bit of property damage when he left tonight, where is your evidence that Clark has done anything wrong? Like, he beat you up in the street and broke a window at your house. Not great, admittedly. Like, on their own, if I were to believe that those were things that had been done unprovoked, I would be thinking, oh dear, Superman's got a side to him, ain't he? But all the rest of the time, he has saved thousands of lives. So, like, has an issue with a billionaire, saves lives. Yeah, the saving lives is, that way, saving lives is going to be more important. But yeah, the boys are like, with Nat, and just how terrifying that was, and then how wonderful it was to see them work together to protect each other and save each other. It was wonderful. And then we get the bad news about Clark's health. Now, I'm just, surely he's gonna have to get, like, the Bizarro Superman is still out there somewhere. He's gonna have to get his heart right. Like, the thing, I mean, to be honest, if Bizarro Superman dies, it would be a case of putting him out of his misery. Like, what his life is just suffering and cruelty right now. Like, ending his life dying, like him sacrificing himself somehow to like save Lois or save the boys or something when he wasn't able to be there for his family and his world, etc., would be like kind of like a nice conclusion to his story, because his life is just suffering. And then there's a Kryptonian heart, yeah, a Kryptonian heart that's had some stuff done to it, but a Kryptonian heart that could then be put into Clark and then would not have any of the problems that the old man heart, a human old man heart, has. But no, them telling the boys that Clark was dying, did not enjoy. Different not enjoy to the, like, the uncomfiness of the rest of it. This was a, my heart is breaking, this family deserves better, I would like to hug them, please. Like, Jonathan was crying, Jordan looked like he was a step away from crying. I was like, oh my god, I love this family too much, why are you doing this to me, why are you doing this to them? So I have to believe this show will end with Clark either them figuring out a way to re-Kryptonianify the human heart, or him getting Bizarro Superman's heart, because if they end this show with, well, Clark's not got that long to live, I'm not gonna be thrilled. I mean, General Lane wasn't on death's door, but he died when he was significantly older than Clark, and that is a huge chunk of Clark's life to just rip away from him, especially when, like, he is someone that you'd always count on being there and living forever. So yeah, brutal episode in so many ways. I'm looking forward to next week's episode, obviously, because I love this show, and next week's one is the penultimate episode, but I'm also just like, oh, is it going to be more of the same? Like, please defeat Lex next week, and then let me have an episode of just what normal life looks like for the Kent Lane family now. It's not going to happen, but I can dream. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, and thank you so much for watching.